Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. My dear Muslims, my dear brothers and sisters, especially I am speaking to our masjid leadership, the honored Muslims, the imams, the board of directors and the presidents. Alhamdulillah, in the New York City, we have, more than 400 masajids. In the whole USA, we have more than 3,000 masajids. Alhamdulillah. Each single masjid, obviously, this is not only for the place of worship. A masjid is supposed to be a place where we invite non-Muslims so they can learn about Islam. A place where we train we mentor our new Muslims. A masjid is also a place where we train our Muslims so we can empower them. We can give them the tips and techniques how to share the message with the people around them. So a masjid is supposed to be a dynamic place, a dynamic house of worship in which we, alhamdulillah, make it into a Dawah center along with a place of worship. And this is the example coming from Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, right? We can give a whole lecture just on this topic. So how can you, as the leadership of the masjid, convey the message of Islam to your neighbors who are around the masjid? Just a few tips. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned to us in the Quran, "Udu'u ila sabili rabbika bil hikmati wal mau'izatil hasanati wajadilhum billati hiya ahsan." And the ayah continues, "Invite all to the way of Allah with wisdom and good preaching, and converse with them in ways which are best and most gracious." So how can we use the masjid to convey the message? First and foremost, I would say, build a rapport with the neighbors. Build that connection with the neighbors. And how do you do it? Many of the neighbors, they may not have, came inside the masjid. According to one of the research, the Pew Research, I believe, it says in there, 90% of the non-Muslims, they have never been inside a masjid. That means when they don't know the masjid or the Muslims, they may have this fear of the unknown. The fear of the unknown may create walls, may create a hate and bias and discrimination, and may create Islamophobia. So I would recommend each single one of you to invite the non-Muslim neighbors from the community inside the masjid and have masjid open houses. So a masjid open house is to invite the people, have some social activities for them, activities for the children and the families, have some delicious lunch for them. After they're done with that, have a short presentation about Islam to them. Open the floor for Q&A, give them some gifts. So that will soften their hearts, it will convey the message of Islam, and inshallah with Allah's guidance, who knows, inshallah they can embrace the faith of Islam. So that's one activity that you and me we can do to share the message of Islam. Second activity that we can do, especially in the month of Ramadan, we can make this Ramadan baskets or this Ramadan gift baskets. It can have something to eat for the neighbors, for the children. It can have a Ramadan greeting card. It can have a brochure about Ramadan, maybe a letter from the masjid, from your neighbor, from your local mosque to our neighbors, our non-Muslim brothers and sisters. Make these nice baskets. Many masajis are doing it. Your masjid can also do it, inshallah. Involve the youth, involve the sisters, involve the brothers. But youth are really important. They can be a really good way to make these baskets and give it out to the neighbors. The third important activity that you can do is you can have the local doctors, the local physicians. You can open a clinic inside the masjid. Make it as a free clinic for the neighbors. The fourth activity that you can do is obviously have blood drive, have food drive, have clothing drive, and distribute it amongst the neighbors who may need this, or distribute to the bigger community. The last important thing that you can do of many things is provide for the needs of the neighbors. Maybe they are older people out there. Maybe they need some troubleshooting for their computers. Maybe for the cleaning of the snow. Maybe they're older people. They may need medicine. They may need ride to the hospital or to the clinic. So when you think of it, there are many things that you can do on behalf of the masjid to let people know that Islam is not only for the Muslims. Quran is not only for the Muslims. The example of the Prophet is not only for the Muslims. The Prophet came as a mercy for all of humanity, to all the people, right? To everyone out there. So this is the message that we want to convey. So I hope and pray by starting dawah activities on behalf of the masjid, inshallah, our non-Muslims, they can realize that Muslims are not to be feared. Islam is not a faith of hating other people. Islam is a blessing for all of humanity. Then inshallah, with Allah's guidance, they can also look into Islam by their own choice. They can also embrace the faith of Islam. So may Allah bless your family, your masajis, and all the Muslims out there, and help us to become ambassadors of Islam, ambassadors of peace. Inshallah. Jazakallahu khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.